You're listening to the Out of the Box podcast with Timmy, Halisa, and Sinosure.
Welcome to Out of the Box. I'm Halisa, and there's Timmy and Sinosure. So today is exactly October 1st, and it's year 2023, which makes Nigeria to be 63 years old. I just want to quickly ask a question. No, let me not do that. But anyways, Nigeria is 63 today, and we thought it's right to talk about what it means to be truly independent. And we just feel like there's just so much that should be talked about when we're talking about independence of Nigeria. Are we really independent? Like, are we independent? Like, have we liberated ourselves? Are we free? Are we a free people? So yeah, let's get into that conversation. Let me not ask too much questions, but yeah, Sinosha and Rotimi, let's get into the conversation for today.
Yeah, yeah.
You get you get us
Yes.
the deal.
Yeah, go ahead, side the show.
No, I mean they thought say you get us the bill now. It's actually um always the case that oftentimes whenever we are about busting into this conversation, um the preparations that I have made, I will just get to a point where I will get a sense of illumination all of a sudden. And then some things will occur to me, then it starts making me develop a lot of questions. Like in this case, now I'm asking myself, Burkina Faso, 1960, Togo, 1960, Mali, it be like 1960, Nigeria, October 1st, 1960, Ghana, 1957. Is it 1957? Yeah. You put all of those things together and you wonder, why then is Burkina Faso fighting France to leave their country in 2023? Does that make sense to anyone? Why is Mali? Shebi, you said they are free. Because the idea of independence means that you have some sense of autonomy in your decision making. Where is it? You literally still help them with military. Still help them with their monetary policies, economic policy generally. You still determine how they go about even thinking in their economy, the way they dress, the way they talk, right? And it seems like anyone amongst them that doesn't get to have touch base with your own country uh, does not have the sense of prospering or prosperity in the real sense. So I'm just worried. Like, okay, we have documented everything we wanted to say today. Is it not just the case that as opposed to the idea of independence, that what we had vis-a-vis the Independence Day, that was when it was supposedly the case that we gain independence, is it not just the case that it was just the point at which the colonialists actually admitted to having us under a chokehold, not necessarily the fact that we gain independence? Does that make sense? That was what just occurred to me as we were about start.
I think you've made good points there. Like, to be honest, I don't know. Like, can somebody tell me the literal meaning of an agbaya? Like, cause this is the first. This is like really the first. I feel really, really like hurt, honestly, because I don't even know why people are saying Happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. What have we done? 63 years. I mean, is there even ever a right time? I feel like the premise of even celebrating independence is even weird. What are you celebrating? Okay, oh, maybe you're celebrating the people that, struggled, because yes, I've seen some few posts by some people that is trying to say, yeah, we are trying to celebrate our heroes that liberated us, and it's not on them that we're not able to move forward with it. But I don't know what people are celebrating, honestly. But you've made very good points there that people are still fighting, France, or fighting like all of these multinationals that belongs to that have ties with the colonialist, and we are saying independence. But that being said, anyways, Dorothy, let's have your take first, your introductory thought.
Well, I think again, I start by saying happy independence to Nigerians, because at the end of the day, we may not be where we need to be, but we're not going to allow the bad leaders, take away this, take away whatsoever it is that we can still. I don't want to say celebrate, but at least happy Independence Day to us. That's all I can say. But yeah, asking if we've really accomplished anything, it's a question that really needs to be asked, because you look at how backward we are, and you wonder that even countries that even achieved their independence, after Nigeria, have gone ahead to do wonderful things. And if those countries that gained their independence decided to colonized Nigeria today, even the ones that gained their independence after Nigeria, if they decided to come to Nigeria and colonize Nigeria today, by the virtue of force, I don't think we'll be able to withstand them. I'm sorry, but I don't think we'll be able to withstand it. And then you look at the countries that colonize us. I mean, like if they are to come back today and say, okay, by virtual force, we want to colonize these people, do you think we have the capacity to withstand that? And it's been how many years? So it also calls for serious concern. And yeah, so that's it for me. But I just told myself that I'm not going to allow clueless leaders to stop me from being able to say the Happy Independence Day to Nigerians. Are we really independent? We're still dependent on most other nations across the world, by virtue of, even the loans that we take to finance projects in Nigeria, by virtue of, millions of Nigerians still having to, jackpot out of the country for economic reasons, by virtue of, not being independent, to be able to produce what we need in Nigeria, even though we have majority of the resources, by virtue of not being able to even refine our natural resources into finished goods in terms of um, things like crude oil. Up until now, Nigeria does not still have working refineries that can refine crude oil and have that finished product being done here by us, for us. So these are some of the things that you see, that we are still shipping out that crude oil and buying it back from other countries. And you ask yourself, what have we really achieved? What have we been doing all of these years? So and you can't really pick any sector in Nigeria, maybe besides the entertainment sector, that we can say, oh, it's really making us proud as Nigerians, that we know that it's number one anywhere in Africa or anywhere in the world. We can't really pick most of these things. And even other African nations that even had, worse situations are even having it, better today. Yeah. So in terms of, answering the question if we're really independent, it's something that still needs to be still needs to be asked, and something that we really need to discuss about. You look at, you know, even our elections, where most of the candidates in the elections, they have to go to other countries to go seek for support. Like in the last election that we had majority of the candidates, they had to, you know, visit Chatham House. Some even had to go, to the UK, to visit the Prime Minister or whatsoever it is, to get some sort of backing, political backing, and that's something that you will never see happen in truly independent nations across the world. So um, we still need to ask ourselves these questions: are we really independent? So that's my take.
Yeah. I mean, I you know, I feel like there's the argument that no nation is dependent on itself, things like that. Everybody will pull up the list of loans. They'll tell you United States is owing blah 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 trillion, China is owing. Nobody is truly independent in in this highly global borderless world. So the term independent in itself too is even slightly problematic. But I don't know where you want to drive the conversation to. I'll just be on the speaker side because I am really tired. I don't have a lot to say about this because it's. I remember the last episode that we did, and Femi said that which is the episode about fees must fall. The education industry. Now I see how very easy it is for me to say the education industry. But the education sector is undergoing some sort of attack. So, our last episode, we spoke about that. You can go and listen to that. But I wanted to just mention what he said. Like, we do this cosmetic approach to everything, and it's a problem. Everybody today want to dress in green, white, green. Everybody want to do photo shoots. Everybody, even the state house, everything is just about aesthetic and inshallah. And that's what we are seeing now. I don't really have any serious this thing to say. Sure, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, while I was trying to set the tone for the conversation earlier, I said something. I do not find it profound, but I found it useful. Yeah, particularly within the context of what we are trying to establish here today. Because if you are greeting me happy independence, right, there must have indeed been a case wherein I was assumed, or I can be assumed, to have attained some level of autonomy, which is required for you to deem me independent. Now, in the Nigerian case, like I was trying to set earlier, seeing what currently obtains in the world of today, does it make sense really to say Nigeria is autonomous? Because I have seen a lot of encroachment on its sovereignty as a nation. I have seen uh, this scarcity of indigenous approaches to its problem. I have seen people who are running its affairs, right, showing some signs that they might actually be stooges of the global West, or let me say not, as the case may be. So, what exactly makes for independence in our case? But
You
if there
said
is anything,
encroachment on its sovereignty. Where?
yes, yeah,
In what case? I'm trying to place examples. Like that one, when you say encroachment on its sovereignty, that's even more geography. Like it's like more. Is there any? Because I don't know
it,
that. Oh, is it?
it,
Maybe you're trying to say the U.S. The consulate office. I don't know. Just
no, no,
expand
no.
more, basically.
Those are just the aesthetics parts to the whole conversation. There is more form. I mean, the substantive part of the conversation, wherein you see that a country like us has need for money, and then you want to take a loan, and then you start getting a lot of recommendation from the people you want to take a loan from. Meanwhile, it's not like the loan is literally coming to you. Perhaps the loan has even been collateralized, like maybe some certain amount of your kudo will have to make way in case you're unable to pay back when due, all of these things. Still, you get a lot of recommendation that shows that people want to undermine you. Institutions, multilateral institutions want to undermine you. So, in essence, I actually have aggregated all of this together to term them as encroachment on its sovereignty. And also, the issue of building consulates, I'm not sure it's particularly a big deal, except maybe when you now have a case like the case we have in Lebanon, right? Right? But I do not see it as a big deal. But where the big deal starts from is when you now start allowing foreign armies to set bases in your country, right? But the point is that is currently obtainable in Niger. We are aware that it was also obtainable in Mali and Burkina Faso at some point. But now those guys are saying get away. Get away from here. So if there is anything that we've been able to establish is that the Europeans, the Americans, especially in North America, have in one way or the other admitted to the fact that they were holding Africa in a chokehold. That is why they actually allow the concept of independence as it is in the 60s, 50s. You understand? So the conversation is now, are we indeed independent, or these people just admit that, okay, oh, we were holding you bondage? If it were to be about holding us bondage, they admitted. That's clear. No dispute. But if it were to mean like they are now celebrating, I mean, we have now gone beyond being held to now being indeed autonomous, right? Independent. Then workings should show. Does this make sense to you? Okay, let's say Alisa, right? I held your money, and then one of these days I came to you after you had shouted, "I have been looking for my money," and you said, "Alisa, I am the one who has been holding on to your money." Then after the conversation, that was all we saw. You didn't give me the money back. Neither did you account for the total amount that you have taken, right? You just said, "I'm the one that
The
has
same
taken
way
your money."
some people were telling me, just understand the problem. I'm like, I'm actually tapped out of understanding economic theories. I don't want to know. So what is the essence? It's as if you just need to just know something, and then what? It's like, okay, I admit I colonized you. Okay. So I don't get it. It's
Like
like,
it's
okay,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I am admitting that I colonized you. Admitting that I exploited you. I'm admitting that I pillaged. I am admitting that I stole from you. But now you have independence, Mr. Man. Where is the right to my resources, Mr. Man? This that you did there, I want to change it. Oh no, you are borrowing money from me now. Okay, but you can give me the revenue that you had stolen from me. No. Okay, my kids want to come to your country at least to use the resources that you built with my money. You need visa. Oh, this you need that. This you need
You
that.
need to write
Okay, anytime I
IELTS,
also want,
yes. You need to write
yeah,
TOEFL.
exactly. Anytime I want to also make effort as choosing the best family head for my family, you still find a way to interrupt my actions, or let me say, encumber my action, and then foster someone who I don't want on me. Why so? Because over the years you have left my people in poverty. They are not properly skilled with respect to for appreciating political issues, so they do not even know their right from left. So whatsoever you push through the propaganda in the media, as a propaganda through the media, it simply just sinks in easily with them. So every time I'm making action, all you just need to do is sponsor propaganda, and then I am encumbered, scot with it one way or the other. And then you still are saying, yeah, indeed, you are independent. You did it 63 years ago. You should have made progress now. I don't know, maybe this makes sense to you. And then at the end of the day, what you get from our people is, okay, some of us are like, we have gotten independence. Why are we not progressing? I'm like, yeah, we will progress when we have the opportunity to choose a proper leader. Okay, why are you not choosing a proper leader? The war did not just start in 1960. I don't know if this makes sense to you. The war did not start in the year 1960. So when we talk about independence, when we talk about the likes, I think if there's anything, African countries largely are still not independent. And that shock hold that we need to loosen or perhaps break, we are not losing it. We are not able to lose it now. We are not able to break it now because there is fundamentally a system that makes breaking it difficult. Even the people who are conscious, who knows about how to go about breaking it, people literally tag them delinquents. Literally.
Yeah, and they'll fight them. Throw to me. Let's hear your own this thing. So that then we'll just take our what our takeaways from our president. But let's hear you do it to me. Then we can do that.
Okay, yeah. So I think for me, yeah, um, I think for me, what I would say is, because we keep on repeating a lot of these things and nothing really changes. Yeah, for me, I would say that Nigeria just needs leaders that can set us on the right path. That's what me I am going to say. Because we again, like, um a whole lot of Nigerians, and not even Nigerians, even Africans, focus on repeating problem statements and nothing ever works. Yeah. And Nigeria just needs a new dimension of leadership. Yeah, that can set Nigeria on the right path. Yeah. Um, Leaders who have a certain ideology, leaders who can think out of the box, like the name of the podcast. And I think if we have those leaders and they are able to motivate the Nigerian people too, because we do need leaders that can motivate the Nigerian people, we would be able to achieve true independence in the shortest time possible, 20 to 25 years, 30 years. I mean, countries have done it, 30 years, and you achieve that true independence and you can stand alone and do what you have to do, to make sure that you're not dependent on any other country, at least for basics. Yeah. So that if that's the only perspective that I really share today, we know all of these issues, your colonial masters still interfering in your nation. All of these things are there. But again, like I always say, without leadership, how are you going to, fight them off? So what Nigeria needs is, at this particular point in time, it's just an ideological shift from the regular, from what we've had, over the past 20 something years in terms of democracy, and 63 years since independence. I mean, somebody put out a post today, and I saw a post earlier today where the person put, all of our ex leaders in Nigeria since democracy, and the person was like, which of them do you think is best? And to be honest, I couldn't even pick anyone, because it's still the same thing. It's just us being on this steady declining slope that has gone down and down and down since we had our independence. So for me, it's a conversation that's, I would just peg to Nigeria having better leaders that truly want Nigeria to be independent. I know you guys. I don't know if, yeah. I don't know about signature, but I know you were on a conversation with me where we're having an interaction with someone who is also politically active, but then with a different ideology, where he still feels like there's no issue absolutely with depending on other nations, and that's the ideology that a lot of our leaders carry. They have no, all of this independence that we say that we want, all of this self dependence that we say that we want. A lot of our leaders don't carry that ideology, and that's the problem. So until you have leaders who truly are aimed at making their nation independent, we will never see anything work, and we'll never see progress, and we're still going to be begging for handouts and everything. So for me, it is you know just leadership with a different ideology, not just a change of personality. So that's just my own take about this.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we need to like set out clear this thing clear. Why don't we even sit down all and say we have a citizen constitution? I don't even know, because we need to have something that just states what independence look like, because nowadays I really just challenge every word I hear. When I hear independence, I challenge it. Like, what does it mean for Africa to be truly independent? And I feel like some people, when they hear of that, they hear this thing. when they hear of that, they hear that we're trying to like lock off our borders and maybe become North Korea, and they freak out, especially because they do their own personal businesses. So they don't really understand the concept. They think that we should just allow free flow of every this thing of like let's just allow everything, just like, because if we say let's like close up and develop ourselves locally, it might harm whatever they are doing, and they don't understand that it's not even about that. So maybe we need to reach a compromise by ourselves when it comes to even understanding these terms. What does it mean to be independent? It doesn't mean you should lock all of your borders. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. It just means that when you're coming to a table to speak, like you're coming with a lot of leverage, and all of that. So yeah, talking about leadership, our leader, our current guy, our current man who wears the cap that is supposed to represent what today should actually look like, breaking the shackles. He did give a speech. I didn't really watch it, but I'm taking an extract from, I don't know where it came from, but somebody put down the main point of what the speech it was about. So yeah, the independence speech, and they said the main takeaway is that he mentioned that average low grade workers were to receive an additional 25K monthly for 6 months. Then the next point is that there will be infrastructural support funds set aside or set up for states who have already received funds to provide relief packages against the impact of rising food costs. The next point is there will be deployment of cheaper CNG buses across the nation to lower transportation costs and improve or positively affect fares. Then the next point is they'll be inaugurating a tax committee to improve the efficiency of tax administration and address fiscal policies that hinder business environment. The next point is commencement of social safety net being expanded through cash transfer program to 15 million household. Then the next point is going to be embarkment on several public service reforms to stabilize the economy, direct fiscal and monetary policies to fight inflation and encourage production. This is the Nigeria at 56 message. And what's your takeaway? I don't know if you came across this. What's your takeaway?
The cash transfer is it still to the 15 million register that contains 50 million people that they said was 40 when they were trying to
Ah,
administer the 8 million, 8,000
here, here,
ever.
yeah. Here there's additional 15 million household. So I'm guessing is that plus another 15 million household. I'm just guessing here. I'm not sure.
I guess they need to come clean, come straight, come very clear because in times like this, communication is very important. And if there's anything we have learned in the last 2 to 3 weeks, is the fact that even the message is coming from them. If we are not hearing it directly from the man's mouth, there's a very high likelihood that it might be wrong. Don't forget they have had to debunk about 2 or 3 news in the past 3 weeks. But the
Shout out
point
Dubai,
also,
UAE.
so,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
no. I mean, but when you say, oh, yeah, you want to do conditional cash transfer to an additional 15 million people, where is the register from? You said the register was faulty earlier. What exactly have you done to correct that anomaly on the register? So there's a lot really at stake, but the point is, it will seem to me like the government, as opposed to what major people believe in the mainstream, has not hit the ground running. It will seem to me like someone who perhaps have shown, or perhaps they are close to proving that every policy action they are taking currently, they are only iterating, cannot be said to have hit the ground running. And it also now leaves a lot to be desired, though. When you look at it, for instance, when we say, oh, road, no good, water is not good, this is not good, that is not good, we need to be up and doing as quickly as possible so we won't be, the gulf, which is the gap between us and other countries, will not be enlarging by the day. So it's really, really a dicey one. And I just feel the government, right? They have more than I think they know on their hands. So really, That's how I say.
Yeah, all of this vague fiscal policy, all of this monetary policy to fight inflation. I don't. It's almost like ChatGPT generated. Honestly, they need to put in more effort to write these things because it's so vague. It's so
Let,
vague. Even
let me let,
unwritten constitution is better than this.
let
But
me quickly
yeah,
chip this in to say like the conversation also, right, because when they are communicating it's necessary for them to also bear in mind that there are some foreign guys who perhaps may want to bring money to the economy that are looking at them. So if you start talking, I'm not sure they mentioned anything monetary policy, right?
they
And
said
you did not.
they would direct fiscal and monetary policy to fight inflation and
One of the problem,
encourage.
I still think that also speaks to the fact that even the monetary policy authorities themselves are not independent in the case of Nigeria, right? And I believe ordinarily there's some level of moral independence that is expected from those bodies. So, I mean, at times, government in Nigeria talk and they indict the whole economy by so doing. So it's
Yeah.
really a swarm period. It's not your job to do monetary policy. Focus on the fiscal side where you have the old. Continue, sort infrastructure, continue, sort power as part of infrastructure, and then perhaps we might be on our way to making a much more optimal society.
Yeah. Direct to me, the buses that you've been asking for is coming. They said the CNG buses across the nation with lower transport cost. I am not sure how this is going to work, but yes, they are going to deploy buses. So yeah, direct to me, you must be proud of your country at 63. Yeah, if you're if you're there.
I'm not. See, to be honest, I don't really have any interest in anything that Tinubu's or APC government is telling people. I have zero interest. It's none of my business. I don't believe anything is going to come good is going to come out of the administration, and I'm just waiting for it to pass. So whatever they've said is really none of my business. But again, I'll still stick to what I've said, that I really feel that Nigeria needs a shift. Now more than ever, because a whole lot of people are losing interests, and that's what scares me, because when your educated population are losing interest in the country, moving out of the country in their numbers, millions of people are moving out of the country. Even those who have not, moved out yet, mentally they are already out of the country. They want to make their first 1 million naira, and they want to look for any slightest possible way to get out of the country. If they are giving sponsorships, anything that will get them out of this country, they're out of here. So that creates a problem. Yeah, and that's why now more than ever, Nigeria needs a drastic shift. So continuing to wallow in whatever the these guys who are ruling the country are telling us that they want to do is a total waste of time for me. I just wish that you know Nigerians can be more like maybe the South Africans who are really pushing for a change in their country, because I don't see any serious movement in Nigeria that is pushing for a change and has the numbers, because it's unfortunate. We are fighting in the wrong direction all of the time, and it just seems to be that this is going to be the situation for a very long time. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but it is where we are. But let's stay hopeful. Me personally, I've not given up on the country, and I hope that you know others won't give up, and eventually we can have something. But whatever needs to happen, very fast before things get worse. Yeah, and what could be worse than this right now? I think anything that is worse than this is just total chaos. And lastly, I would say that what we really need, Nigeria really needs, is a revolution. That's what we need. Any other thing is just wasting our time, and a revolution just doesn't just, speak to clearing leaders out of power, but also all of the various industries in Nigeria. We need a revolution in the healthcare sector. People are dying on avoidable deaths, like deaths that could have been avoided. People are dying,
Like
in our
the
Nigerian.
recent case that has been trending, that the lady was not um she, the Garki Easy Hospital case where the lady was not admitted
Yes,
and
yeah.
she had to
So
lose her
like,
life. Yeah.
and and it happens every day. It's not just that one case. That case, that same storyline is like Nollywood, yeah, where you, or let me say old Nollywood, where you can get the same storyline, where you can get the same thing happening over and over and over and over again. We've heard that same line over 1,000 times. I mean, the lady that died, the lawyer that died in Aja, I think last year, that was shot dead by a police officer, was taken to a hospital, and then nothing was done until she died. And look at, there was even recently our Nigerian police force, they put out, one of the PROs on Twitter actually put out the statement where he said, that they found someone that needed urgent medical care, and they took the person for um to different hospitals, and none accepted the person, up until the fifth one, and those were uniformed men, that were able to even beat traffic and whatever it is, go in their official vehicles, and they could not get that done. So when we speak of a revolution that can actually bring this change that we want, we are saying not just, it's beyond just removing the leaders in power. All of our sectors, policing, healthcare, um everything, hospitality and tourism, our industrial sector. We need a revolution in all of those sectors that will bring about a drastic change, because the more the world moves forward, the more we'll always be behind. So when people say, oh, let's just have little reforms, that's not going to get us up to speed. Something drastic needs to be done, and only a revolution can get us there. And if we don't have that, it's not nothing. We're just going to keep on complaining over and over again, and nothing is going to come out of it. So that's what I feel basically.
I feel like we need to lift the spirit because it's still Nigeria at 63. I mean, yeah. What's a good thing that I can say about Nigeria now? Oh, we have vibrant people. I mean, I guess. What is the good thing that we can say about Nigeria? We need to speak something I don't know, but damn, there's just so much happening that is like really really hard. Is proper hard, but ah, I don't know. They said they will add 25K anyways to people's this thing salaries for 6 months. Um, all these band-aid solutions, my God. When are we going to start doing, like you said, when are we going to treat the cancer? Flush it out. But yeah, I don't know what else you want to say about this whole thing. I don't know, really. Why are you being quiet?
It's description. It's not the best of times, really. It's not the best of times. It seems like things get bad as time passes by, and all of these things if you aggregate them together, you will see that we are really, really in a mess. You get so that's why it seems like the mood is down, and I bet we can do better. We can do better, really. We can do better as a people. It seems like we have vacated the driving seat and we have left it to the dogs. You understand? So it is important for us to really assume um, some. Uh, Let me just say, it is important that we get independent as a country. And for us to do that, we need the kind of leadership that can, of course, initiate, or let me say start that, so much that we can build institutions that will make it sustainable. But what we currently have is seeming to me like, okay, these people have ate their own, have eaten their own, they've left. Okay, let me also eat my own so I can live. And then, of course, perhaps feed my kids in there so that they can go after me and take it. It's just, Nigeria is just like a legacy point, valuing point for exploitation, right? And literally everybody is getting their own share of the sport. And it's literally just giving the vibe of chop your own, make I chop my own, make everybody move forward. Nobody is looking for a substantive solution to the overall problem that we have in this country. And it's really an eyesore, really. That's why it seems like the
we,
mood is
we, we
down.
can't we can't afford we really cannot afford to let it go. That's the thing. The thing is, I mean, I know that we are all here on a journey called life. Everybody is not permanent and everything, and I think that's where people struggle, because you're
Yeah.
thinking, I mean, I'm not here forever. Yes, I want to fight for the legacy and da da da, but do I really want to? And that's where people just try to just be satisfied on their own, and they know that it's not supposed to be a long-term thing. That's why I've been saying, I've been one person that have been saying that I don't even think that fighting to kill poverty is the thing, because many people say it's, let Nigeria, at this point we need to be sustainable, we need to have food, security, things like that. I agree, but me, I feel like it's like an offshoot of a bigger mission. It's not a thing of we just wake up in the morning and we say, okay, let's solve put food problem, and then there's still insecurity problem, there's still this problem. You can't even when we say, okay, let's fix power, it cannot even be done in isolation. When we are fixing
Exactly.
power and the yeah and other these things are not done, then it's a problem too. So it has to be like a mission. Then it's like, then when that mission, when we are fighting for that, then the offshoot of that mission would just be, food security, to be no corruption. There'll be complete zero tolerance for corruption, because we know where we are going. And then if we don't finish the mission, then our children can then just pick it up and continue. But for 63 years, some people, if you were born on the day of independence, you probably have grandchildren by now. But there's no like proper ideology you pass down from yourself to your kids, and then from their to their own kids too. And that's why it feels like that. But when we say these things, it seems like we're being too ideological. But when there's no sound ideological standing, this is what we get: confusion, just proper confusion. And I think that many people still believe that, yes, personally I can do very well by myself and feed my and do well for my family, and I'll be fine. So because of that, and because there's this there is, should I don't want to say it's an illusion, because yes, people can leave, people can go to other places. There's these porous borders just generally because of globalization, and everybody think that, yes, maybe if I can make life here, I can make it somewhere else. And everybody feels like they just need to be okay by themselves and everything will be fine. But the problem we have is like so severe. I don't even know where to start. And sometimes I just wonder, is it that they are just, where are we going to go from here? Because the solutions that I still keep hearing don't sound like solutions to me. When we say things like, yeah, let's just like get this thing, let's just get our infrastructure working. I agree, but I want to say, yeah, I think there have been times where we tried to do infrastructure, where some people would say, like in the 70s or times like that, where they were like heavy projects. I'm not sure I'm correct, I'm not great like that, but there were times where there were heavy projects, but those kind of ideas were not passed through generations. And I feel like that's one thing that we are lacking. And that's why here, after 60 years, it still seems like we are in disarray. So, yeah. Ah, I mean, oh, my country. Nigeria, Nigeria. Well, it is what it is. It is well. That's what we say, right? It is well. It will be better. It go better.
Gaskia.
Are you sure?
Oh man. Well, like,
Yeah.
I mean, what other options do we have here? It will seem
Exactly.
it go better now the way to go now. All right now.
Damn,
I mean,
many things have happened anyways,
a lot of things, a lot of water under the bridge.
but I think moving
A
forward,
lot.
what do you think we need to do to be truly independent?
Take this
Let's
country
actually
back.
like try to.
Take it,
Hmm?
take the country back from the dogs. Take the country back from the dogs. Literally, no hide and seek. You can't even take it from them through elections. Take the country back from the dogs and find something to work out for the country, so that more people will not continue to lose their life because doctors did not respond to them in case of an emergency, so that armed robbers will not continue to shoot people one chance, will not continue to kill people, so that people will not continue to be chased out of their homes and the place is converted to real estate for the rich and without any compensation for the poor, so that people will not continue to be chased from their ancestral land under the guise that government has a need for their land and then it's converted to real estate that their generation unborn cannot even afford to buy, so that people will not continue to die of accidents that are avoidable, so that thugs will not continue to kill people. They take their country back, literally. That's all for me.
Yes, yes. Can you come down to some people's levels? Some people that would want to, by level, I'm not trying to be insultive, but yeah, can you come down to um realistic in quotes type of type of solutions?
If we need to live, right, based on a social contract that exists amongst us, right? If one of us is not living by that social contract, is it not pertinent that you chase that person away from the setup so that people who are willing to live by that social contract stays? And in the case where there is no social contract, it does it not make sense that you currently overhaul the existing structure and rebuild a structure where people can agree to jointly stay together? It makes sense. That's it. There is no English
And
there. It's just literally
yeah, I wish
nice
our
English.
judiciary was working. When there's a contract that's not working, then the judiciary should just come in. That's what they're supposed to do.
I
But
think the judiciary is working, like I usually say. They are not working for you
okay,
does not mean that they are not working.
okay, solid point.
Everything in this country is serving its purpose. Do it to me. What do you think?
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah.
So that's how
Jordan
we
might
say
be
it.
struggling with is this thing. Anyways, okay. Oh, I think we've tried, but Nigeria can actually get to where it has to get to. I feel so. Yeah, yeah, with everybody playing their own role in their own independent, wherever in their own independent field, with the drive towards progress. I feel like with that outlook, I think that yeah, for sure, why not? So yeah, we just said we should share about independence a little bit. We should come here and just sulk a little bit, but of course communicate with you. That's what we want to do on this special episode. And thank you very much for joining us. Um, we'll see you in our next episode. Have a great day.